say it is corner now. The cross, back post, Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal! Leon Dubois.
Because the score density played the simple ball. Dia in for Hurtado. An all-timer from Eric Hurtado.
Say it is corner now. The cross, back post, Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal! Leon Dubois.
Because the score density played the simple ball. Dia in for Hurtado. An all-timer from Eric Hurtado.
We are back. Of course, welcome to another exciting edition of Battle of the Fans series. This is where we battle about ideas, battle ideologies, and of course, battle stories as it relates to the ever exciting world of football. My name is Arizona. Of course, Isaac officially, by the way, just in case you want to sign me a check. And I welcome you to another exciting edition of Battle of the Fans. So today's edition promises to be very exciting and very, very interesting. We'll talk about two major stories making rounds in the world of football. First up, Ronaldo is back at Manchester United. There's been this story about him wanting to leave the club, and there were stories about Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Manchester City, of course PSG, all aiming to get the man. But unfortunately, no team, made a concrete bid to get this 37-year-old striker, and he's back at United to hold talks, according to reports, with Erik ten Hag and his agent George Mendes ahead of his future and ahead of the new season coming for Manchester United. So the question is, what next for Ronaldo? What next for the man who's been nicknamed Mr. Champions League? Will he be ready? Will he be willing to put his guard down and play in the UEFA Europa League next season with Manchester United? We'll talk about the story in the show today. We'll also take a look at Chelsea. In the wake of their poor preseason so far, just a win, a draw, and a 4-0 bashing at the hands of Arsenal. Of course, Thomas Tuchel a couple of days ago came out to say that Chelsea are obviously not ready for the new season. And so we'll talk about Chelsea in line with their transfer activity so far. Just two players have come in. Talk about Raheem Sterling from Manchester City, and of course, Kalidou Koulibaly joined from Napoli. But of course, Thomas Tuchel says Chelsea still needs more signings. We'll talk about this in line with the story that Chelsea's sporting director is a third ballie who, according to many, has very limited knowledge of football and the technicalities that comes with being a sporting director. So we'll talk about Chelsea and if they are very ready for the coming season. This and many more will form the crux of the discussion with you today. Welcome once again to Battle of the Fans. Of course, we are broadcasting to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiako, Oran. Before we get into the nitty-gritties of the show, let's just take you through some interesting sporting stories all across the globe. Welcome once again.
Say it is corner now. The cross, back post, Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal! Leon Dubois.
Because the score density played the simple ball. Dia in for Hurtado. An all-timer from Eric Hurtado.
here's Cornet now. The cross, back post, Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal! Léo Dubois!
Because the sport against me played this simple ball. Dia in for Hurtado! An all-timer from Eric Hurtado!
Right, so glad to know that you're still live with us on Spectrum TV, right at Battle of the Fans. Before we get to talk about the interesting stories all across the globe, let's take you through some interesting, mouth-watering sporting stories that you would like to know about. Let's start with Ronaldo United, where there's a story that Cristiano Ronaldo is currently watching his teammates play a behind closed-door game, friendly, particularly against Wrexham at the club's Carrington base. Ronaldo was in attendance at Carrington as Manchester United eased to a 4-1 victory against Wrexham in a behind closed doors friendly. The 37-year-old has told United that he wants to leave this summer and is only checked into the training ground for the first time in pre-season just this particular morning. New signing Christian Eriksen scored in the game in what was his first unofficial game for Manchester United. The Danish international signed a 3-year contract with the Red Devils earlier this particular month and has now made the perfect start to life on the pitch. Ronaldo is finally back in England after being given compassionate leave for a family issue, which led to him missing the first 3 weeks of pre-season. His attendance at the Wrexham game comes after crunch talks took place over his United future yesterday with Ten Hag, the club's chief executive Richard Arnold, and his agent Jorge Mendes all in attendance. So Alex Ferguson was also in Carrington at the same time for a football board meeting, and there's reports that the meeting was not specifically about Ronaldo, but it's possible that the subject could have also been discussed with Sir Alex Ferguson. Right, Ten Hag talked to Ronaldo when he took over as manager in May, but it was the first time the two men had spoke since Ronaldo had asked to leave the club. Let's talk about another interesting story, and this comes in the wake of the Chelsea transfer saga and the Thomas Tuchel story. This is a story that PSG are ready to soften their £55 million valuation of Presto Kimpembe with interest from Chelsea coming through. The story is that they expected to lower the valuation of the French defender this summer amidst interest from Chelsea. This is according to several media reports. The 26-year-old defender has previously been linked with a move to Chelsea and a reunion with his former boss, Thomas Tuchel. It was reported that the German had already made contact with his former player, with the pair sharing a very strong relationship during their time together at the Ligue 1 club. Talk about PSG. Tuchel revealed that his side were in desperate need of new defenders in order to allow him play his preferred system at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea are also looking at other alternative targets, likes of Kimpembe, Josko Guardiola, and Milan Skriniar have all been linked in recent days as Tuchel looks to add to his defense. It was believed that PSG valued Kimpembe at around £60 million this summer, as the 26-year-old has struck up a strong relationship with new boss Christophe Galtier. We'll get the story, get a clear picture in the coming days. But let's also talk about one more final story, and it's a story that Leicester City are demanding at least £70 million if Chelsea wish to sign their star defender Wesley Fofana this particular summer. Well, according to the reports that we are getting, there's a story that the Foxes may be forced to sell big-name players amidst their lack of transfer activity and amidst fears over financial fair play, with Kasper Schmeichel agreeing to join French club Nice on Tuesday and Yuri Tillemans strongly linked to the move to Arsenal. Leicester City are currently the only club who have not completed a single signing, despite Brendan Rodgers calling for a healthy shake-up of his squad in February and need to sell players before they can buy any player. Fofana, by the way, is one player who has strongly impressed at the King Power Stadium, and the 21-year-old French centre-back has attracted interest from Chelsea, although Leicester City are keen to keep him, and the deal is said to be extremely very, very difficult. He joined Leicester City in 2020 from Ligue 1 side Saint-Etienne for a whooping fee of £36.5 million and has played over 50 games for the Foxes across all competitions, signing a long-term contract just in March, which will last until 2027. So that's the story from me here, and that's the story that we have for you. But of course, let's take another short break. When we come back, we'll talk about Ronaldo. What's the way forward for the man who has come back to the club and is ready to stay with the club? We'll talk about Ronaldo and so much more in the course of the show after this very short timeout. So stick around and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
say it is corner now. The cross, back post, Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal! Leon Dubois.
Because the sport density played the simple ball. Dia in for Hurtado. An all-timer from Eric Hurtado.
Say it is corner now. The cross, back post, Dubois is there, straight back in.
A knowledge of global businesses, economic activities, a new wave of the stock market, forex market, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs creates new dynamics towards emerging market millionaires and billionaires. From the dot-com era to the oil booms, the fundamental news drives the market. This is Business 360, taking you to the business around the globe. Join us from 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. weekdays, exclusive on Spectrum Television. Business 360, your prism to world businesses.
Elections in Nigeria is characterized by fraud.
It is not pure election because of the way they conduct it.
The elections are here again. For us in Akwa Ibom State, it is another opportunity to elect credible and potential leaders.
But I see some of them are not really credible.
In fact, when you talk about the credibility in the Nigerian system, it's absent.
As for the aspirants, what are your plans to better the lives of citizens and ensure that it is not just another era of political promises?
Some aspirants came up with so childish kind of manifesto, something that you know that they cannot do.
Even if after campaigning and promising heaven and earth, you find out that by the time they come in, they cannot do 50% of what they promised.
Because they are coming to see this. If they don't use this, they will not achieve what they want. So it is the normal thing they must use to convince a man that does not have a proper ideology to vote them.
So it's just a mere slogan. It's just a mere slogan to use and have their right into power.
What do you, the people, think about the elections?
The electoral process has been marred by malpractice and all of that.
That's the bad thing in Nigeria. All election night is about money.
Definitely, no matter what the reform they are carrying out, they will still be rigging.
It's about the aspirants, the manifesto, the people's view, an in-depth analysis.
That godfatherism is what has eaten deep into our political system. It has become a cankerworm that has left our political system into a corrupt system.
If it is not godfatherism, somebody like me, I will become the counselor. So because I don't have a godfather, it will not work.
Because people feel that they will come and invest, they need to get something back home. So the major aim is not about the people, it's about their family and themselves.
Godfatherism will not help the politics to grow. It won't help democracy to grow.
Vote buying will even be more this time around because these people, most of them have stolen a lot of money and they will use this money to buy votes.
Who gets to represent you in government at all levels?
Well, for me, the new breed aspirants, I would love the new breed aspirants. But for those, there are some of them that will not, I would say, definitely, I wouldn't want them to come back definitely to power.
Join us on Akwa Ibom Decides every Saturday and Sunday by 3 p.m. each day, exclusive to Spectrum Television, as we take on the aspirants set to lead you.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by Muslims, our governors have to share police.
Louis say it is corner now. The cross, back post, Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal! Leon Dubois.
Because the sport density played the simple ball. Dia in for Hurtado. An all-timer. An all-timer from Eric Hurtado.
is his corner now. The cross, back post, Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal! Leon Dubois.
Because the scored yesterday, played the simple ball. Dia in for Hurtado. An all-timer from Eric Hurtado.
Right, so good to know that you're still there. Welcome once again to Battle of the Fans. It's a show where we battle ideas, ideologies, and we talk about the topical, the big, the breaking, trending stories all across the footballing world. But today, we talk about two key stories making rounds in the world of football. First up is Ronaldo and his purported exit out of Manchester United. Of course, he's been able to, he's back with the team, of course, after a 3-week compassionate leave due to what everyone called family reasons. But of course, he's back with the team for crunch talks about his future with Manchester United. So we're back to talk about Ronaldo. And the question is clear. What next for Ronaldo? What next for Manchester United? Should United begin to prepare life without Ronaldo? But of course, I'm not alone. And he said I should refer to him as my strike partner. I don't know what that means, but he's my guest in today's show. And his name is Sulerex Akpabi. He's not a very unfamiliar face. He's been in and around the scene, and he comes back today. Welcome, Sulerex, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely, Mary.
Did I say thank you for having me? Thank you for coming around.
It's a fantastic day to be back as well.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get the conversation rolling quickly. Well, it's been a torrid 3 weeks for Ronaldo and Manchester United.
Absolutely.
In May, when Ten Hag came in, he clearly said that he wanted Ronaldo to be a crucial part of his squad going to the new season. But fast forward to 2 months later, when the transfer window was officially open, and the story was that Ronaldo wanted to leave United. And then there were stories about Bayern Munich, Chelsea, PSG, Atletico Madrid, and all 4 clubs have distanced themselves from anything that looks like a move for Cristiano Ronaldo. And according to reports, he came back yesterday for crunch talks with Eric Ten Hag and George Mendes. Do you see progress in these talks? Sulerex, let's start from there.
First off, Mary, looking at Cristiano Ronaldo, is a brand. He needs to protect his brand. So playing in the Europa League is not something I want Cristiano Ronaldo to do. Looking at the past couple of years, he's been, a prolific striker, scoring goals left, right, center.
Absolutely.
So what Cristiano Ronaldo has to do, in my own opinion, is to leave Manchester United.
Leave Manchester United?
Leave Manchester United, because Ten Hag says he wants him in his project. It's a new era. He wants him to be part of that, particular bit. You can't keep, a player that is not happy. You can't keep unhappy player at the club. It will definitely bring problems. It will reach, a certain point in time that things will start, going back to how it was before. So Cristiano Ronaldo staying at Manchester United is not a welcome development.
Let's talk about something. You're saying it's not a welcome development, but there's a story, of course, that Atletico Madrid, of course, Chelsea, there was a story of PSG, all linked to the man, but no team had come out to make any concrete offer for Ronaldo. And recently, yesterday particularly, Atletico Madrid chief Enrique Cerezo came out to say it's practically impossible for them to sign a man who spent 9 years at their bitter rivals Real Madrid, scored a lot of goals, and of course won a lot of trophies for them. That's about Atletico Madrid fans, the ultras particularly, are saying no to any move for Ronaldo. And yesterday, early today particularly, Bayern's chief executive talked about the former goalkeeper, what's his name now? Oliver Kahn came out to say, of course, that it will be impossible. That when they had talks about signing Ronaldo, but they decided against that because he's not part of their plans. So you're saying that staying would be a bad thing for United, and it's not going to lead to the development that Eric Ten Hag would be looking for. But there's no club wanting to sign this man.
Looking at the current situation, it's not yet done and dusted. The transfer window, we still have barely 10 days to go. We get to see players being signed at the last
How many teams can afford Ronaldo's wages? Let's start from there.
It's not by how many teams, it's which team wants him.
Okay, which team wants him?
Look at top clubs in Europe, they don't need him. Talking of PSG, Bayern. But let's look at whether they have a striker.
But you're saying that he should leave. So the question is, where should he leave to?
I'm not his spokesperson, I'm not his agent, but I know if Cristiano Ronaldo, within the short period of time, if he wants to leave, he will definitely get to one of the best clubs because he's a brand and also he's a big name player. You definitely come into the party to see if you can punch in those goals for his club as well. But as things stands, Cristiano Ronaldo should leave. And if he's leaving, he will get, definitely get one of the best offers in the
teams that would, according to paper, afford his wages have distanced themselves. So should he go to Norwich City or should he go to Aston Villa?
Arsenal, mention Arsenal.
Well, Arsenal are done with their signings, unfortunately. So he can go.
It's a big, question mark there.
What if he stays?
I don't wish he should stay at the club.
Why?
Because
Tell me why.
Reasons are Cristiano Ronaldo is a brand. It will be disastrous if he gets to play.
So is United not a brand?
United is a brand as well. But Ronaldo has set up, a standard for himself in the past 5 years. He has been scoring the goals. When has he ever played the Champions in the Europa League? No, he doesn't even know what the Europa League anthem sounds like. So it will be something disastrous for Cristiano Ronaldo, Mr. Champions League, to play in the Europa League as well. So I'll urge him to leave the club because they need to go for a striker. Now let's look at the Premier League. Talking of Man City, they brought in Erling Haaland, 22 years of age. Talking of Darwin Núñez, who came from Benfica to join Liverpool. So he's 23 or 24 years of age. Those are young strikers. You can't expect a 37-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo to lead the attack. Although he scored 18 goals for Manchester United last season, but in a long run, things will definitely show up that this man can no longer do the game. You need other players to come in and get those goals. But for Cristiano Ronaldo, the problem will still continue. Now let's look at Erik ten Hag's CV. Let's look at the managers he has played under. Talking of Pirlo, those managers, they had nothing to show. And Ronaldo struggled, as an individual to sparkle under these managers. So Ten Hag coming in, he only won the Eredivisie. And what's the probability that in his first season is going to win the Premier League? The main reason Cristiano Ronaldo came back to Manchester United was to win the cups because United are now a cup team.
All right, so we're still talking about the Ronaldo story and the complexity surrounding that particular story. But let's also talk about something Solarex. Looks like the indications clearly show that he might be staying at the end of the day. That's basically why he's having these crunch talks with the club. Now, if he stays, will it be a win for Ronaldo, a win for Manchester United?
I think it won't be a win for Manchester United. Yeah, it's a new project. Ten Hag, he has recruited some of his, best leg from Ajax as well.
Right.
Yeah. So Cristiano Ronaldo's thing. Let's consider the fact that he's 37.
You've been talking about the goals. Now let's look at the goals that Ronaldo have scored in the last 5 years. Competitions from 2017 to 2022. I mean, he scored 45 goals in the Champions League so far. He scored 18 in the Premier League for United last season. He scored 4 in the World Cup 2018. He scored 41 goals in the La Liga before. I mean, from 2017 to 2022, scored 81 in Serie A. A total of 189 goals scored between 2017 to 2022. Let's look at Ronaldo, Manchester United's highest goal scorers in the last 5 years. Lukaku was highest goal scorer in all competitions in 2017-18 season. Scored 27 goals. Paul Pogba scored 13 the next season. Marcus Rashford scored 22 the season after that. Bruno Fernandes scored 28 goals the season after that. And Ronaldo, of course, scored 24 competitions last season for Manchester United. And a total of 114 goals. That's still not enough. That's still not compared to Ronaldo's tally in 5 years. Ronaldo scored 189 in 5 years. United has scored 114 in that span of years. Don't you think that United needs this man's goals desperately?
They need him. But my point is, you can't keep a player that is not happy with the club. Cristiano Ronaldo.
But don't you think that the fact that he's decided to come back and have talks with the club, doesn't this signal maybe a final decision to settle and play with this team next season?
I don't think it's a final decision, considering the fact that it will now look as if the club is begging this man to stay. And what happens?
Who should beg who? Ronaldo or United?
No, the board having meeting, with Cristiano Ronaldo clearly shows you that the board wants him to stay. And initially, they're begging him to stay. Say, please come stay, come, punch in those goals for us. But at the moment, you can't beg someone who is not happy to stay.
But you need his services, right? You need his goals. The stats are clear. He scored 189 goals in 5 years. United haven't been able to score that number in that same number of years. So you need this man to score you goals. So why would you want him to leave?
There are two things we need to consider. First, has to be his age.
He's 37.
37.
Scored 18 last season at 37.
Tell me which striker in the Premier League is 37 years of age that is still playing the game.
But he's still playing. He's scored 24 competitions. That shows you that age is just a number for this man.
Age is not.
Do you think that his age has affected his quality?
Get my point. First thing, you can't keep someone who is not happy. Now let's look at the quality of players that he was playing back in the last 5 years. He played for Juve, talking of the likes of Bonucci, Wade. Those were quality players.
So you're saying there's no quality at Manchester United?
Paulo Dybala.
Is there no quality at Manchester United?
There's quality at Manchester, but not to be compared as the Juventus, Madrid. And look at the United current squad. They are trying to blend. They are not even playing as a team. So all what they have to do is to play as a team first up. Then the front three get to involve in the goal. It's not basically about Ronaldo. That's the point. All right. This is the Premier League. The age comes in, and the player, how he's. You heard the story of Romelu Lukaku when he came to Chelsea. The first thing was, it's a pleasure to be in Chelsea. That it was his boyhood club to be a bit. As things, went on, he said he wants to go back to Inter Milan. So that is always a different thing coming out to pop up. So Cristiano Ronaldo has come up with a big statement. He doesn't want to play. He wants to leave. So let him go. No need of you keeping a player who's not happy at the club.
All right, so the conversation is getting interested in the studio, but of course we're streaming live on Facebook, www.facebook.com/spectrumtv.ng. We're streaming live, so go there, drop a comment, and I'll take them in the course of the show. Should he stay or go? So the Rex has said clearly that, well, this man is not happy with the club and he should go. But don't you think that this man's goals will be needed by Manchester United in the coming season? So head to our Facebook page, we're streaming live, drop a comment, and I'll take them in the course of the show. In case you're just joining, this is Battle of the Fans, where we talk about the topical footballing stories all across the globe. Well, Solarix, since we're talking about the United story, let's talk about the attack. You're saying he should go. Yeah. And, let's take a look at some United attackers and potentially would become the key men if Ronaldo leaves the team. Anthony Martial, he scored 4 goals in preseason. Sancho scored 2. I wonder why you're laughing. And there's been Marcus Rashford, who looks rejuvenated. Yeah. In the preseason, there's an outside chance for Facundo Pellistri. There's Amad Diallo, the fringes and all of that too. Elanga as well. Which Anthony Elanga as well? Which of these players do you think can guarantee United at least 15 goals in competitions next season? None. So why do you want Ronaldo to go? None. The only player that can guarantee them that number of goals, you want him to leave. If Cristiano Ronaldo, for me, my opinion, I want him to leave. Why? So that they'll make signings. Go into the transfer market, get quality players. Is Ronaldo restricting United from making signings? He is. How? Because he's the only striker there. What United need now is to get a prolific striker. Looking at Liverpool, they have Darwin Núñez. Look at Manchester City. Haaland. Gabriel Jesus was there. They signed Haaland. It was when Haaland came in that Jesus left. So how is Ronaldo restricting United from signing players? There's a possibility that Ronaldo told them not to sign players. No, he hasn't. But they have this feel-good factor that Cristiano Ronaldo is there. But he's been wanting to leave for the past 3 weeks. He's been trying to leave. United haven't signed any player. Mari. So is Ronaldo the problem at United? Get my point. Ronaldo is not the problem. Right. I won't say he's a problem. Right. The problem of Manchester United for me is snowballing because it keeps on happening. Snowballing? Yeah, it keeps on happening. No, when you say snowballing, what do you mean by snowballing? It keeps on happening. You can't stop it. From the board to the players to the manager to the recruitment process, how things are being done at the club. Those are, aspects we need to consider. Are they still operating like back in the days of Sir Alex Chamberlain Ferguson? Those are things we need to put in place and see, fine, this was the United of old and this is how they are currently doing their thing. This is a very new era. Mary, get my point. We're talking about the fact that the new coach, Erik ten Hag, fresh start for everybody, fresh start for United, fresh start for Erik ten Hag, particularly as a coach of the side. Shouldn't Ronaldo be a part of this project and probably put himself in the map? And of course, that legendary status that he is at United. Yeah, talking of the project, is it to play in the Europa League? That's not a project. What is so bad about the Europa League? What is so bad about the Europa League? God, goodness me. For a player like Cristiano Ronaldo, playing in the Europa League. If Messi was in this situation, do you think he would play for United? Well, I don't know. I don't know because it's a difficult question to answer in that particular one. But now let's look at Cristiano Ronaldo. Right. Last season, you said he scored 24 goals. 18 in the Premier League. Competitions. 18 in the Premier League. Right. Now let's look at the rest of the players. How many goals did Jadon Sancho get? He's first in at United. How many goals? Less than 10 goals. Marcus Rashford NBA gets? Less than 10. It clearly shows you that the whole goal scoring burden was on Cristiano Ronaldo. And then you want this man to leave. He was the vocal point. Then you want him to leave. I'm coming to that. He was the vocal point, getting all the goals. But compared to other clubs, we are talking of the Premier League. Salah last season won the Premier League Golden Boot. Mane had scored 17 goals. Right. It clearly shows you if Salah doesn't score, who will score? Mane. So if Ronaldo doesn't score for United, United don't sparkle. So for me, let Cristiano Ronaldo go. The transfer window is still open. Go get some best legs.
put in your team, rejuvenate them,
Finally,
try and play as a team, and get the perfect
before we
results.
wrap up the Ronaldo conversation, if Ronaldo goes, who would you recommend for United to sign that will guarantee them 25 goals a season?
25 goals. Haaland was in the market, they didn't get him.
Well, Haaland
so
is
that's United also failing to do, what they are supposed to do. We have a couple of strikers.
That's missing after that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about who should come in.
We have a couple of strikers, Victor Osimhen is also in the mix. Yeah, last
So they
season.
should splash £100 million of Victor Osimhen.
Absolutely. If you feel he's the right man, why not go get him?
All right. Thank you very much. Of course, the conversation is interesting. You can head to our Facebook page, www.spectrumtv.ng. Go there, drop a comment. We'll take them in the course of the show. And of course, our phone lines are up. That's good news. So the numbers have not changed. 0704-541-7707. Call us up and we'll take your call live on the show today. Let's join the conversation. We're talking about Ronaldo and what next for him. He's back at United and of course was present in their behind closed door friendly game today against Wrexham United, where United defeated the opponents by 4 goals to 1. Well, some interesting news. Christian Eriksen also was on the score sheet for United, and that's some good news for them. So let's begin to get your thoughts in 0704-541-7707. And of course, you get to be a part of the show. And if you cannot get to us through the phone lines, we're on Facebook streaming live, www.facebook.com/spectrumtv.ng. Drop a comment there and I'll take them in the course of the show. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the Ronaldo story and we'll talk about Chelsea. What next for Chelsea? Are they ready for the new season? These questions will be answered after the show. Stick around.
It's his corner now. The cross, back post. Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal! Léon Dubois.
Because the sport density played the simple ball. Dia in for Hurtado. An all-timer from Eric Hurtado.
It's his corner now. The cross, back post. Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal! Léon Dubois.
Because the sport density played the simple ball. Dia in for Hurtado. An all-timer from Eric Hurtado.
So good to have you back on the show. Welcome back. It's still Battle of the Fans, and it's live on Spectrum TV, reaching you from the beautiful hills of Ibiakoran. My name is Isaac. You can always call me Marizona, and of course, we're talking about some interesting topical issues in the world of football, and particularly today, we're talking about Ronaldo and the recent story that he's back at United, set to holding crunch talks with United ahead of his new season, if he would stay with the club or go. And the question we're asking right now is, what next for Ronaldo? Should he stay or go? You can always be a part of the show by heading to our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/spectrumtv.ng. Go there, drop a comment, and I'll take them in the course of the show. Alternatively, you can join us through the phone lines. The phone numbers will be displayed in the screen a moment or two from now. So do well to be a part of the show. Of course, so Solorex, let's wrap up the Ronaldo conversation right now. Now, taking a look at the kind of signings that Ronaldo have made. Well, I think we have a call. Hello, welcome. Anybody home? Hello? No. All right, so do well to call us back if you can. The phone numbers will be displayed on the screen too. Do well to call us back if you can. So, Rex, we were discussing. You've seen the signings they've made so far. Christian Eriksen, former Tottenham man, joins, from Brentford. Lisandro Martinez, the very little defender, joins.
The butcher.
The butcher, yes, from Ajax. Yeah. And then joins, of course, for £57 million. We'll talk about the story after this call. Hello, welcome. Hello. Hello. Anybody home? All right. Maybe there's been there's a little, technical issue with the network, but do out to keep the calls coming in. And once the coast is clear, we'll take them. Thank you very much. The phone numbers will be displayed a moment or two from now to do out to be an active part of the show. So Rex, I hope we don't get interrupted this time. So United, Lisandro Martinez is coming. There's a story about Ericsson is coming as well. Tadio Malacia is coming as well, just to add to that quality of the team. So with the amount of players and the quality they've signed so far, where do you see them next season?
I think they have not done enough.
They've not done enough signings yet,
because the major,
Hello, I think we have a call. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, welcome. Your name and location with you.
Yes. Good evening.
Welcome.
Good evening.
Please do me a favor.
Yeah,
turn down the volume on your TV set. Hello. All right. So please, when you call us up, do out to turn down the volume on your TV set so we can actually have a smooth conversation, because the holdbacks would definitely affect conversation. So when you call us, please switch your TV set off so it doesn't interfere with our communication. Thank you very much for understanding. I keep the calls coming in, and I'll take them in the course of the show. And in case you just cannot join us through the phone lines back. To go to Brazil and get a striker.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Right. So how many players have left Brazil and sparkled in the Premier League?
Oscar was there. He's a Brazilian.
Strikers.
Yeah. At some point, he was playing as
I thought
playing
you'd
the
say Gabriel
striker.
Jesus.
No, leave Jesus. For me, he hasn't sparkled in the Premier League. He hasn't
yet.
Yeah, he's yet to hit that ground. Running.
So you were saying particularly that United still need more signings.
Absolutely. The most important thing has to be getting a defensive midfielder. Scott McTominay, Fred.
Well, they wanted Frankie de Jong, and Frankie de Jong has said no.
Is Frankie de Jong, a defensive midfielder?
Well, maybe he's integral and pivotal to Ten Hag's plans.
Remember, it's the Premier League. Now, let's look at Man City, Liverpool. Fabinho, City, go to Calvin Phillips.
Rodri.
And now Rodri.
Right.
Once again, United failing to do, the needful. So once the season starts,
you seem very emotional. I hope you're not a Manchester United fan.
I have to be emotional because I feel for them as well.
You feel for them?
I feel for them because they will come crying, come calling, looking for help. This is the best time for them to get a defensive midfielder. For crying out loud, Fred, Tomini. If you think Fred and McTominay can get you, to the level of Man City, the level of Liverpool, then you must be in Krukula.
All right. So let's just take one more short break. When we come back, we'll talk Chelsea. Thomas Tuchel, of course, has been talking since the Arsenal loss that Chelsea are not ready for the Premier League, and then they've not had the enough quality. And it's less than 2 weeks to the league, and Chelsea have still not found stability. So what next for Chelsea? Are they really ready for the new season? We'll talk about this and so much more after this very, very short time out. So stick around. We'll be right back in the jiffy.
It is corner now. The cross, back post. Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal! Leon Dubois.
Because the sport can't stay played the simple ball. Dia in for her top.
Knowledge of global businesses, economic activities, a new wave of the stock market, forex market, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs creates new dynamics towards emerging market millionaires and billionaires. From the dot-com era to the oil booms, the fundamental news drives the market. This is Business 360, taking you to the business around the globe. Join us from 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. weekdays, exclusive on Spectrum Television. Business 360, your prism to world businesses.
Elections in Nigeria is characterized by fraud. It is not.
It is corner now. The cross, back post. Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal! Leon Dubois.
Because the sport can't stay played the simple ball. Dia in for her top.
So glad to know that you're still right here with us on Spectrum Television, right in Battle of the Fans, where we talk about the big breaking and trending stories all across the globe. My name is Isaac. You can call me Marizone. I'm excited to be in the show today. In case you're just joining, we're talking about the Ronaldo saga and what next for him as he's decided to return to United and maybe start a fresh chapter with Erik ten Hag. And of course, you can always be a part of the show. Just head to our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/spectrumtv.ng. Drop a comment there and we'll take them in the course of the show. Alternatively, we're live and you can just put a call across to us on 0704-541-7707 and we'll take your calls in live in the show. But right now, let's switch gears and travel to Stamford Bridge, London particularly, and talk about Chelsea. Well, on Monday particularly, after the friendly Chelsea had with Arsenal, where they lost scandalously 4-0 at the hands of Mikel Arteta's newly refurbished Arsenal team. Erik ten Hag came out to say something very key and critical, and I'd love us to take a look at that particular statement in fine details, what he particularly said. Well, he said, and I quote, "I am far from relaxed. We were simply not good enough. We're simply not competitive. I look at the last season and parts of the game we struggled, parts of the season where we struggled, and then we got sanctioned and players left us, and some players are trying to leave us. This is where it is. So we had an urgent appeal for quality players, a huge amount of quality players. We got 2 quality players, but we are not competitive like this. Unfortunately, you could see it today." That is, in fine detail, Solerex, what the man Erik ten Hag said about his Chelsea team after they lost to Arsenal. 4 goals, keywords.
Tuchel.
Yeah, Tuchel rather.
Yeah.
Tuchel rather. Keywords. Quality. Not competitive enough, and of course, the fact that they still need quality signings for the new season. What do you make of this statement in light to it, the fact that Chelsea's sporting director is Todd Boehly, their owner, who a lot of people believe has limited knowledge of what football should look like?
Clearly, from the manager perspective, he's a Confucianist.
Who is a Confucianist?
Talking of Thomas Tuchel.
Chelsea's coach?
Absolutely.
What makes you say so?
Now let's look at the players here. Compared to, he was a coach of Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah, PSG. Yeah, right.
Done beautiful works. Came to Chelsea, landed the Champions League in the space of 1 year. But what was the aftermath of that? For example, look at Pep Guardiola. Look at what's his name, Jurgen Klopp. Thomas Tuchel is here to have a standard formation. A team like Chelsea, they have.
How do you have a standard? How do you get standard formation when you don't even know the players that are leaving, the players that would stay?
No, all that it started just months now.
Right.
He has been on the job more than 2 years. getting to the third year now, he needs to get a better starting 11. I can't boast of, a match out of watch Chelsea play, make 10 games on the trot, coming out with the same starting 11. Pep Guardiola has a traditional 4-3-3.
Is that the problem at Chelsea?
That's the problem. The manager fails to identify.
How has Tuchel's lack of playing strategy affected Chelsea signings? Because we're talking about two different things here. Chelsea has, of course, a sporting director, their owner, Todd Boehly, who has limited knowledge about football, and he's the one in charge of signing players. Doesn't that spell doom already for Chelsea?
I don't think it's doom.
Really?
If I was to be...
Does Todd Boehly understand the nitty-gritties, the technicalities and responsibilities of being a sporting director?
He doesn't need to understand.
Really?
It is first season, and he wants everything to, work well. So he will just take up the responsibility and try to act.
So he needs to try. If by tomorrow morning you bought ownership of a club, would you be the sporting director?
I will.
Why?
Reasons.
How much of negotiations do you know? How much of football negotiations do you know?
Aside from negotiation, we get to learn every day. Todd Boehly, you can never tell.
Todd Boehly is using Chelsea to learn.
It's very possible.
When Chelsea are transitioning, when Chelsea needs stability, we're using Chelsea to learn.
It's very possible. Even the manager is learning.
Tuchel is learning.
Tuchel is still learning because he's here to have a standard formation. That's what we are talking about.
Wow. I'm surprised you're saying this.
He's new on the job.
No, he's not.
I'm talking of Todd Boehly.
Right.
Yeah. First thing, he has to be, take charge of everything happening.
Including transfers.
Be full control. He's the owner of the club. Come on.
All right.
He needs to know all these things.
All right. So we are still streaming live on Facebook, www.facebook.com/spectrumtv.ng. Go there, drop a comment, and we'll take them in the course of the show. Alternatively, you head to take your phones and dial our number 0704-541-7707, and we'll take your calls right in the course of the show. We're talking Chelsea, and Solomon, aka Solorex, is saying that Tuchel is a problem at Chelsea. I wonder how he's not been able to figure out.
Let's go back strategy. To when Sarri was the manager at Chelsea.
Yeah, Maurizio Sarri.
Yeah, Maurizio Sarri. There was a time he went on 11 games unbeaten. At that point, he was playing Jorginho in the advanced role. Was he at advanced role to do the
Jorginho played as a central midfield.
Okay, yeah.
N'Golo Kante
was now in the advanced role. Yeah. It was working, at some point. But what happened when the results, were no longer going, at his favor? The fans, the players, everyone started rebelling. Right. This is not the way Chelsea used to play. Chelsea, we have a standard.
So it's Todd Boehly not to be blamed in all of this. I've listened to you talk, and then you've not said a single thing about the fact that Todd Boehly is a sporting director. Now remember that Chelsea lost Marina Granovskia, that lady has been integral to Chelsea's success in the last couple of years. Yeah. Bruce Bock was chairman of the club, very key. Petr Cech, former player, was also a key member of that Chelsea board who helped in transfers. These three individuals left the club and left it for Todd Boehly, who has very minimal knowledge of football, and he's been given the responsibility to sign players. He's just gotten players, two players for Chelsea.
Like Koulibaly and Sterling?
Yeah. Tuchel is clearly saying in the statement, they need more quality. That's not on Tuchel. That's on Todd Boehly. That's on Todd Boehly.
Why sign Sterling when you need a striker? That is also based on the manager. You need to have your own say.
But there's been this talk about the clash between the coach's choice and the owner's choice. Yeah. We've seen cases where club owners sign players for the coach, and these players were not sanctioned by
Pulisic against Sarri.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the kind of story.
Sterling wanted to leave City,
right?
And we went for him,
right?
Chelsea.
Right. So
we needed Sterling.
Before you continue, Solorex, let's hear Thomas Tuchel talk with his own words. Let's hear from the horse's mouth before we wrap up the show. Thomas Tuchel talking about the story. But before we try to play that particular video, of course, due to several copyright laws, we can't actually play the video. But the story is clear. Thomas Tuchel clearly says Chelsea needs quality.
They need quality. They have enough quality. Looking at the midfield, they have one of the best midfielders. Jorginho, he won the Euros with Italy. Kante won the World Cup. Those are quality players. Up front.
How old is Jorginho?
Should be
almost 30.
Yeah.
How old is Kante?
Early 30s.
Will Kante guarantee Chelsea consistency next season? Remember that he missed a couple of games last season due to injuries.
that also goes back to Ronaldo's story. Ronaldo is 37, age factor. But these guys, they are still performing. Chelsea have the quality. Looking at the back line, Thiago Silva, one of the best centre backs. Koulibaly, they have enough. So it's based on the manager to go to the training ground, get the perfect formation that will suit this particular set of players.
What happens when you get the formation, you fix players, tomorrow you hear the player is leaving to AC Milan?
He has been on the job for more than 3 years. He needs to come up with something concrete.
How concrete would that be?
But were you disappointed,
Well,
angry by that?
it's going to be a difficult one.
But it's getting interesting. Of course, 0704 541 7707. Give you a chance to be a part of the show. As we set to wrap up, we have less than 3 minutes before we call a shot for the show today. Solorex, particularly, I'll ask you less than 2 weeks to
9 days.
the start of the season.
Okay, yeah.
All right, and then Chelsea are still yet to get stability. So where do you see them ending next season?
I think Chelsea, they are one of the teams that even if things get to, go bad with them, they'll still struggle and get to the top. So I won't write them off completely. I think they can still make it to the Champions League spot.
That's a tough position.
Yeah.
Right, I think we should take one final call. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening.
Name and location. Welcome.
Marisona.
Yes.
Hello, good evening.
Welcome, if you can hear me.
Hello.
Can
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please talk to me. Do well to turn down the volume on your TV set. Unfortunately, we lost that particular call. Let's see if we can take, say, one call before we bounce today. 0704 541 7707. And please, when you call us up, do well to switch off your TV set or turn down the volume so it does not interfere with our conversation, because I'd love you to talk to me and have your say in the current conversation that we're having right now. Alternatively, you head to Facebook, www.facebook.com/SpectrumTV.ng. I like the .com, by the way. So, Solorex, we're set to bounce. We're also waiting for one particular last call.
Yeah.
Chelsea, Manchester United. Which of these teams would be consistent next season, judging from their business in the transfer window?
I think United, new era, everyone wants to impress the new manager. They will always get, the perfect start.
All right, so United. All right, so well, finally, Solorex, you have a slot, to fix in a team in the Champions League next season. Yeah. This is hypothetically speaking.
Yeah.
You have a slot to fix in a team in the Champions League next season. Chelsea or Manchester United, who would you fix?
Should I sit on the fence?
No, you can't. You're already sitting on the chair. No need of sitting on the fence.
I got that. That was crazy. I'll put United
over Chelsea.
United
in the Champions League next season.
Yeah. Because.
All right. Let's take this one final call. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Yes, welcome. Name and location. Hello. All right. Unfortunately, we lost that particular call, and our time is already up. That's actually very sad. But of course, we'll come back again on Saturday, 9:30 a.m. all through to 11 for 1 hour, 30 minutes of footballing talk right here on Spectrum Television. So do well to keep a date with us. And for those of us who've been trying to reach us through the phone lines, sincere apologies. We'll do better when we come back on Saturday by 9:30 a.m. So keep a date with us. Thank you very much to those who are streaming live. And of course, we're seeing your views. Thank you very, very much. And of course, thank you, Solorex, for being a part of the show.
It's always a pleasure.
Appreciations are in order. Of course, do want to connect with us on social media. We are spectrumtv.ng on Facebook, same story. On Instagram, spectrumtv.ng, same story for Twitter, spectrumtv.ng. Well, personally, I'm Isaac on Facebook and MR_Marizona on Twitter and Instagram. So let's link up, let's connect, and let's talk. Thank you very much. Do well to have a lovely evening. I'm out.
After Las Vegas,
doing essays, here's corner now. The cross, back post, Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal!
because we are like now 2 weeks on the road, so that's also a point, but it's not really a point. It's a little point in explanation why we are not refreshed. I get not expected today, although I'm very good. We should expect to have fresh legs, so that was not the biggest surprise.